Welcome, everyone, to episode 105 here in the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creators Series. Today, I welcomed a St. Louis, Missouri artist. Her name is Alexus A. I found Alexus around the time she dropped her single Ride For You, which she's been pushing pretty heavily. We talked about that in today's episode, kind of what it's like to go on a promo run as an artist, pushing a single to radio, doing different interviews and things like that, and how important that is to, your success. She also talked about kind of just going through YouTube and finding different videos and researching different parts of the music industry and how to succeed, which kind of hit home for me because that's really how I learned pretty much a lot of what I've learned as well, just getting on and what they call YouTube University and kind of just studying from people that have been there and done that, and just kind of trying to see how to create your own lane and everything. And I think Alexus is really doing that with her music so far. She talked about her growth as an artist, especially over the last 4 years since she's been dropping music. She has more new music on the way this summer, and some live shows in St. Louis with her band and everything, which she discusses. So I really think that, she's going to be around for a long time. And, I've already put Ride For You in a few of the playlists and everything. It's going crazy. So I can only imagine the next few songs she drops are going to be even better. But without further ado, let's get into this one. All right, welcome everyone to episode 105 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today we have a really great artist out of St. Louis, Missouri. Her name is Alexus A. How are you, Alexus?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Once again, thank you for joining me today. Excited to get to know more about you and everything. And to start off every episode, we have the guests give a bit of background. How did you get into music? How long have you been doing it? Pretty much basic information for those that might not know you and what you do.
Okay, so I started singing when I was about 3 or 4. My cousin actually she figured out that I could sing. We were riding in the car, and I guess I was humming. I can't even remember what song it was, but I guess I was humming, and she turned around and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you can sing." So she went to go and tell my mom, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, did you know your daughter can sing?" So once that happened, I'm like, maybe I, actually can sing. So yeah, that's basically like where it started. And then from there, I was always in like the school choirs and, just, singing covers on YouTube. And yeah, that's basically how I got my start in music.
Yeah. So was your mom, like, when she found out about that, was she pretty supportive of the whole thing? Was she like, "Oh, my daughter can sing, like I should kind of be like supportive of it," or like how did that whole thing go, even from an early age?
Something, my mom has always like my number one supporter. Like, I went on American Idol and The Voice, and I didn't make it through, but like she was the main one pushing me, like, "Alexis, you really need to go and do this. Like, this could be your chance." So yeah, she's like my number one supporter, my biggest supporter out there.
Yeah. And that's awesome too, because I know a lot of people out there, they don't have kind of that support figure, whether it's like a parent or a relative. Some people are just kind of on their own, you know what I mean, when they start their journey and everything. So I think it's great to have someone like that, even from the beginning, that's just kind of pushing you that extra step, because sometimes it's good to have that, you know what I mean? Because we kind of, when we're just in it on our own, sometimes we forget like how, a lot of people go through these issues that we all go through and everything, and we kind of get down on ourselves and our journeys. So like to have someone there, like your parent in there, and just being like, you can do this, I really believe in you and everything, that's always something great to have. So that's really an amazing thing to hear. So even from a young age, what do you think like made you stick with music and like see it through even to where you are now, where you're grown and everything? Like I guess what I'm trying to say is like, how did you not lose the love for it? Because I know like as a kid, when you're doing like town shows and you're doing just music for fun, when you grow up, sometimes those things can kind of get lost in the sauce, you know what I mean? Because you're trying to pursue a career, you're trying to figure out how to make money. How did you not lose the love for your passion?
Honestly, so I grew up watching a lot of Beyoncé. she was like the ultimate performer to me. Like, she always just was like dominating the stage, and I always told myself, like, I want to be like her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what really motivated me to like keep going. Now, I'm no Beyonce, but she definitely, like, she is the ultimate role model for like people who are aspiring to be a singer or performer. Like, that is definitely somebody that I look up to.
Mm-hmm. You never know though. Like, you got a lot of time. You could get to that level one day. You know what I mean? Like, anything. Because you never know. I mean, like, you know, because like people like that, they don't just start out as that. You know what I mean? Like, everybody starts somewhere. So it's like even Beyonce at one point was nobody to everybody. You know what I mean? She loved music and just stuck with it and worked really hard. And now she does, you know, 10 times more than just music. You know what I mean? She's got a lot of money and a lot of power and everything, and just does great work for really just everyone. So I think it's just, you know, figuring out what is for you. You know what I mean? And I think like we look at the people we grew up listening to and everything and use them as inspiration, and we're like, wow, these people are incredible. And sometimes that seems like out of reach, but I don't think it really is if you have like a plan. You know what I mean? So I guess it's just all in what you want to do and how you look at it and everything. But like, that's probably like one of the best people to kind of look at. You know what I mean?
Oh yes,
to be
definitely.
like, yeah, that's like the bar. You know what I mean? So that's incredible. I saw on like streaming services for you, it looks like around like 2018 was your first like releases. So what do you think has changed since that time as far as, you know, recording, writing, putting out music? How do you think you've grown as an artist in the last 4 years?
God. Just having this conversation last night. When I look back at my music, like from 2018, it almost makes me cringe. And I know I should not say that, but I don't know. Like, it just, maybe it's just like the situations that I went through, like from then to now. I feel like I stepped up my pen game a little bit. And it's coming from a different place. So, yeah, I just feel like, you know, life happens and you start evolving. You want to figure out, like, what sound or what direction you want to go in with your music. So I think that definitely played a part in that.
What about the, like, 2 years ago around the pandemic? What were you doing around that time? Were you strictly focused on writing and things of that nature and just kind of getting better? Or, like, how did that whole experience go for you?
Honestly, I was writing. I had a period where I had, like, a major writer's block. Like, I don't know what was going on. And it was like, I could not shake it. Like, I was trying to write music and it just wasn't flowing the way it usually does. So that's what I was doing, like, around during the pandemic. And I'm just like, what can I do to actually, like, finish a song? And I ended up getting some help from my co-writer on Ride For You. His name is John Joseph. Just to get another perspective of, like, you know, what the song could actually be. And yeah, that's how that song came along, and, you know, I ended up releasing that.
Yeah. So it's almost in a good way. It's like you had to kind of go through that kind of setback to get, like, a great song like Ride For You out of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like if that never happened, like, certain things just don't fall into place. I'm curious about Ride For You because it's a pretty big song and everything now for you. It's probably arguably your biggest song yet. So talk about that whole process, like putting that together. Obviously, you said you had a co-writer and everything. Like, what were you going through when you're putting that together and putting, like, the idea in mind for it?
So this song actually came from an idea. I was actually watching Queen and Slim.
I never seen that movie. I saw the soundtrack to it, and I loved a lot of the songs. I never got to watch the movie, though.
Yeah, so the idea came from that. It's a really good movie, actually. The idea came from that, and I was like, you know, it would be really dope if I made, like, a really, really cool song to, like, go with this movie. So that's where the idea came from. I hopped on YouTube because usually like when I write, I just like strictly go to like YouTube and like type in like type beats, and I start writing to them. So this one beat came about, and I was just sitting there. I'm like, okay, I think this might be it. And then I just started writing to it, and yeah, that's just how it came to be.
Sometimes like the more simple processes are the best result, though. You know what I mean? I've heard that so many times. It's like, I think when people like are trying to do too much with songs, they end up just not being what they envisioned. You know, so it's kind of good to just start going and see where the pieces land and just see what comes out of it. So I think that definitely happened. And obviously, like, I put it in some of the playlists that I got and everything because I honestly really enjoy it just from when I heard it. I think that's like the first song I heard of yours and everything. So I think it's really an incredible record. And you've been pushing it like pretty hard too, doing like radio and different promo stuff for it. What has that been like, doing kind of like promo run for this record, and how important has that been to, you know, getting it out there?
Honestly, it's very, very important. I feel like at times, like I'm still learning like how to do everything. I watch a lot of YouTube, so like I learned how to put my music on like distribution websites from YouTube. Like basically everything came from there. And it is really, really important, especially like if you want to get paid for your music. So it's very, very important for you to like look little things like that up.
It's funny because that's literally like parts of my journey as well. They call it YouTube University, you know what I mean? Because it's like there's so much information there to just kind of absorb and everything. And there's obviously in music nowadays, there's a lot of different layers that people miss. You know what I mean? And that people don't really get taught up front, and you kind of have to go behind the scenes to learn things. And like you said, you gotta kind of just put yourself out there and not be afraid of it as well. Like I think for you believe in this song, you know what I mean? So you're gonna do whatever you can to get it out there and get it to the right audience and everything. So I think it's just a lot of people kind of miss those steps for some reason, or maybe they don't have a plan around the song. And like you said, you got to do your research on how to properly promote, who to promote to, kind of where to go with your song for it to catch wind and be successful. So for you in like St. Louis, right? Because that's obviously where you're at and everything. Is there anybody that you've kind of gone to who has really believed in you and what you're doing and kind of helped you along the way? Maybe local stations, maybe studios, people like that you want to shout out that have been a real part of your journey so far?
You know something? I feel like everyone that I have come into contact with, like they have all been like so supportive of my music, from radio stations to the people at Studio A that I go to, Kenny Mo at 105.1, Princess Storm at 104.1. Like they have all been so supportive and like trying to help me push my music and everything. So I just really, really appreciate them for doing that.
Do you think you're always going to be rooted to St. Louis for pretty much your whole career? Do you think you ever envision kind of venturing out, going elsewhere, or does it not really matter to you? Have you not really thought about that?
You know something? I have recently been thinking about trying to relocate out of St. Louis, but it's just so hard just because my family, like I'm really close to my family, and it would be so hard to leave them.
What's going on, everyone? Just wanted to take a quick minute out of today's episode to let you guys know about the sponsor for this summer, Cali Audio. Cali Audio has been around since 2018. They've been providing incredible audio products to music creators, producers, artists, pretty much everyone in between. Shout out to Nate Baglios. I actually got in contact with him earlier this year. He's the head of marketing over there, and he hooked me up with some LP8s, which I've been using. Very great audio quality. Really excited to be able to finally have monitors for myself, to be able to create, especially being a producer as well. They're going to come in handy. I really recommend you guys go check them out. That's Cali Audio, KALI audio.com. You'll be able to see their full lineup of products. Very affordable, very great build quality as well. I'm very impressed with the LP8s, so I can imagine the LP6s and all the other monitors are very good quality as well. So go check them out. And just wanted to remind you, we have a giveaway coming at the end of the summer in August, where I'll be giving away a pair of the LP8s to one lucky contestant. And I'm looking forward to, doing that and gifting the great sounds of Cali Audio to someone else, because I think that's a really great thing to have, especially if you don't have monitors or anything. Once again, big shout out to them. Really appreciate them for even getting back in contact with me. So go check them out. But for now, let's get back into the episode. Yeah, I don't blame you there. And there's another thing. I think I've said this on other episodes, is like the beauty of like social media and online distribution and stuff for music is that you really don't have to be like, it helps. I understand why people go to like Atlanta, LA, New York for connections and things like that. And it kind of depends on what you want to do as well. But it's like you can make it really anywhere. You know what I mean? I know like it might sound cliche, but it's like you can pretty much make it wherever you're at. You just have to have that plan like we talked about. It's like you just got to figure out what you're trying to do and how to make it work. But there's so many more options than there were like 30 years ago. You know what I mean? Like 30 years ago, if you wanted to make it out of like a small market, it was kind of hard. You might have to go to LA to figure it out or whatever. But I think it's just whatever you have as a personal preference and whatever you're trying to do. So I think you're going to be great wherever, because I just think the music is speaking for itself, and I think you are already getting people, listening to your stuff. So I don't see any reason why, no matter where you're at, it's gonna work. You know what I mean? So, so I'm also interested in. I know you were doing Music Mondays on Instagram, like cover songs and everything. I don't know if you're still doing that. I haven't really been keeping like heavy track on it, but what was that like, doing like cover songs and everything and putting those out there for people to see?
So that's actually like how I really got started. Like I was doing covers and stuff on YouTube. So I was like, well, it'd be really cool if I could just, incorporate that on Instagram, with the little Reels feature, just to see who it would reach. But honestly, like I haven't been doing it as much as I would like now. I think I need to be more consistent with myself with doing that. But yeah, so that's soon to come.
I gotta check out your channel then, your YouTube channel, because I didn't even know anything about that. I thought it was just like on Instagram and everything, but yeah, I liked it like when you were doing it. So if you get back to it, I'll be checking them out. So
this is the thing.
Yeah.
All of my covers were from like when I was in high school. That was like maybe 10, 11 years ago, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I do not want anyone to hear these.
You gotta go in and make all the videos like private and be like, no, they can't discover these.
I'm just, do I really want the world to hear these?
Yeah. That's understandable though. It's like, that's maybe not my best work. You gotta kind of tuck it back. But yeah, I definitely think like because I know a lot of singers, especially like with Instagram and stuff, they get discovered from the cover songs, because they'll do like let's just say Beyoncé, because we talked about Beyoncé earlier. They'll do like a Beyoncé cover, and then you'll just use hashtags and stuff, and like people will find your work and stuff. And I've even found different music makers through them doing cover songs and everything. So it's always a great thing to do. Apart from like your original music and everything, just to kind of get new people looking at what you're doing. How much like stock are you putting into social media, especially with, pushing the single and everything? Like, do you really have like content strategies going on or anything, or you kind of just are posting what you feel like you need to be putting out there in regards to your music and everything?
Well, I don't really have like a plan. I used to actually, so I told you I watched YouTube a lot. And I used to like look up like how Instagram's algorithms are, like what do you need to do in order to reach a certain audience, and I used to look up things of that nature. But now I'm just like, yeah, I'll just post this day.
It's tough too, because they change it so often. Like that's what I've noticed, is that they'll go in and you'll get these whole like this blueprint down with the plan and everything, and then a few months later it might be totally different. So you got to go back in and just start messing with stuff again. So it's just such a hassle sometimes to keep up on.
It definitely is. And then the last time I think I watched a video, I think maybe like a week later, they were changing the algorithms again. I'm like, oh yeah, this is just not gonna work.
Yeah, yeah, and it really is tough too, because it's like, it's not like our platform, so we can't really do anything about it and everything. So you kind of just got to play by their rules and just do their thing. And I always say just use them for good, like use them for what you need to use them for, and just go from there. Don't like. I think people get too wrapped up in it too. You got to have a good balance and just figure out what you got to do on there, and whatever you need to do to get the message across is all you can do. So I don't blame you on that one, 100%. What do you think, like, moving into this summer, maybe the fall or whatever, like coming up later this year, what do you think you're looking to do? Are you looking to drop more music, do shows? What do you have planned that we can look forward to?
So I have actually been rehearsing with my band. Shout out to SIP. It's Smoking in Public. I've been rehearsing with them, and we're trying to get a show together now. We pretty much have the venue already secured, but we're just trying to make sure that everything is perfect. Which I know it's probably not going to be perfect, but if I can get close to that, I will.
Yeah.
I definitely plan on releasing new music. I have a couple of features that I have in mind to get on a couple of songs with me. They're all from St. Louis. And then I do want to put out a music video for Ride For You. So, yeah, I have all of that coming.
Yeah, awesome. A lot of stuff in the works. Going back to the live shows, have you ever done live shows before? Or this will be like your first one, or like when I say that, I mean like in the last like 4 years since you've been, putting out music and stuff, have you done like any official shows?
So I haven't headlined my own show before. Like, it's always been like opening act type deals. Mm-hmm. Honestly, like, just thinking about it now, I still get nervous because like it's gonna be like all eyes on me. Yeah. But I'm excited though. Like, I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I'm excited for people to hear my music. I'm excited for people to see what I have to offer. I'm excited for people to hear the band. But yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and it's going to be great, too, I think, for you to kind of, like, see it in a live setting, too, like the songs and everything, and kind of get to perform them in front of people and see the reaction. That's like, what I've heard a lot of, like, live musicians talk about is the difference between, like, when you hear it on, Spotify or whatever, and you see it in the crowd, you know what I mean, or you see the crowd's reaction if you're on stage, like, the energy is, like, totally different. So I think that is going to be great to see. I wish I was out there. I would go too. Like I still got to go to St. Louis eventually, but like eventually I will see one of your shows for sure. Because I can imagine you're going to eventually be doing shows elsewhere as well. So definitely looking forward to that, and that's great to hear. What do you think? At the end of the day, when someone hears a song of yours, sees a video of yours, or goes to a show, what do you think you want them to leave with as a lasting impact? Like, have you ever put any thought to what do you want your lasting impact to be in music or in life in general, you think?
I think the main goal is just to have people look at me like if they're an aspiring artist, or if they just want to do anything in life, just look at me as an example and say, okay, if she can do it, I can do it too. Mm-hmm. So that's my main goal, right?
Yeah, love that. So last few questions here. These are questions I ask on every episode. And the first one is, if you could go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say be more open to constructive criticism, because I feel like I had a problem with that just like in my early 20s. Like, I just feel like when somebody came up to me and was giving me advice on something, I would just be so pig-headed and be like, oh, no, you can't tell me anything. I would definitely go back and be more open to listening to people versus just shooting the idea down.
Mm. Yeah, and I think it goes back to like you gotta have thick skin too a little bit, because as artists we're not always open to hearing like the counter to what we're doing and everything, and like someone like you said, someone could be trying to help and not really hinder the process. So
Right.
I think you kind of just gotta take the opinions in and just see, because something good could come out of that. You know what I mean? You could get that perspective that you never thought of before.
Yeah.
So I think I totally see what you're saying, and I think over time, as you continue on in your journey, you just start to learn that, and you're like, I'm going to be more open to it, and just see, what good comes out of it, because people will have things to say no matter what. So it's like you just got to take it how you will, and just kind of learn from that. So if we flip that then and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in your life and your career?
Honestly, I keep saying this, but I probably need to stop saying this because I want to speak everything into existence. I know the music thing is going to happen for me, but let's just say if it doesn't, I really see myself either managing up and coming artists or doing artist development. Just anything inside the music field. I don't think I can do anything else.
Mm-hmm. all that YouTube learning though, that could come back. You know what I mean? Like that'll help you do that if you ever decide to. So
definitely.
Yeah. So do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Be you. Honestly, that's all I can say. When you're in the music industry, you have a lot of people just, I don't want to say faking, but it's just, there's probably no other way to put it. You have a lot of people that aren't for you. And people really prey on that. So I feel like if you're just your authentic self, and believe in yourself, you'll be able to do anything.
Yeah, definitely. It's always something you got to keep in mind too, especially when the going gets tough. So definitely wise words there. And Alexus, that's all I have for you today. I thank you once again for joining me. Good luck on the show coming up. Good luck on the music coming up and everything. And just keep pushing, keep doing your thing. Love where you're going. And hopefully we'll connect again soon.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode 105. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.